Here's how to blend our data on Google Looker Studio and all the use cases related with marketing. First, we will blend our PPC performance data from Google Ads, Meta, and LinkedIn so we can have a combined view of our ad spend, clicks, impressions, and so on. We'll face many issues and you will have a love-hate relation with Looker Studio. So we will also blend Google Sheet data so we can manage null values, missing dates, and other things that you will face when you start blending your data on your own reports. Also, if we connect other data sources like Shopify, we could have the bottom line impact analysis because we could get the actual profitability. Think of this. If we take the actual sales from our Shopify store with the actual ad spend from Meta, Google, TikTok, we could actually calculate metrics like CAC, ROAS, MER, and all these metrics that answer to the question, what is my marketing ROI? After we connect this data, I will also show you some use cases and great use cases of also blending your Google Sheet data. For instance, we can do actual currency conversion with live data from actual currencies. We could add also annotations and notes for particular events, changes, or the change log that you have done in a particular campaign or channel, or even I can compare my performance data with my goals and my budget. And finally, if there is not a data source or connector available, like for instance Amazon Ads, I can also pull this data from a Google Sheet and blend it in my Looker Studio reports. So this is an example for Google Sheets for goal tracking. In one column or table, I have my Google Ads performance data. In another table, I have my Google Sheet budget that I can insert and change manually, and I can create a time series like this where I compare my conversions versus my goals. I can do the same with currency conversion. If I get the currency conversion data by date and also my ad spend by date, I could actually automate the calculation of different currency conversions on Google Looker Studio, and also annotations. If I want to have a change log of all the changes I am doing, I can compare my performance versus the changes I have done on my marketing channels and campaigns. As you can connect Google Sheets, we can also bring other data like the cost data. Imagine, for instance, connecting our cost data and profitability data from a Google Sheet with the ad spend so we can have our actual cost of goods sold or our actual global ad spend. Finally, this is the most important part and the most exciting. We could take our data, do a regular expression to segment our data, and we can group, for instance, our data by campaign, by brand, by client, across all our channels so we can create an actual cross-channel marketing report. As you can see here, I have my campaign names from Google Ads and from Meta Ads, but I am not breaking down my data when blending by campaign, but by brand. So as you can see, I am breaking down by brand my total spend across channels. This is a better view for management and for your business in general. And also with this exercise, I will show you the difference between the different join types like left join, right outer, inner join, full outer, and cross join. And this is how you will blend your data on Google Looker Studio. I am super excited for this. I will see you in our next lessons. Here is how to blend your ad performance data on Looker Studio so you can create cross-channel reports. For this exercise, I am combining or blending Google Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads data. The first exercise is to bring a table for every data source with the equivalent metrics and dimensions. So for Google Ads, I am bringing first by date my cost, which is equivalent to ad spend, impressions, clicks, and conversions. For Meta, I am doing the same query by date, the amount spent, impressions, link clicks, and purchases. And finally, for LinkedIn, also by date, my spent, impressions, clicks, and conversions. This is important to understand. Even though the data sources are different and the metrics names are different, they represent the same. Spend, amount spent, and cost represent my ad spend across this channel. So once you create the table with your data sources, the only path I need to do, or the only step, is selecting them and do a right click. Once you do a right click, you will find an option that says blend data. And this will automatically generate a new table with your blended data source. However, the query is not correct. By default, Looker Studio set the dimension as amount spent, and I don't want it. But I will show you what it created. If I go to edit this data source that it just created, it will show me that it is working correctly. But I will create a new blended data source from scratch so you can understand everything that we are seeing here. It is super simple. With data blending on Looker Studio, first you will love it, then you will hate it, and then you will love it again. Now, I will click on close. And I will remove this one and I will work on this blended table that I had already created in the past. If I go to this table and I click on edit data source, you will see that this is a blended data source. It is not a common connector. I will click on edit and I will explain everything that you are seeing here. So my first recommendation is that you name every data source that you are connecting so you can identify them. Here I am connecting Google Ads, here is LinkedIn and also Facebook, so it is easy to distinguish. The second step is unifying some fields. If I want to blend or unify fields from different data sources, they must be the same so I can understand what to blend. My recommendation is to start with dates if you are new to data blending because dates are universal. Regardless if you are using Google Ads, LinkedIn Ads, or Facebook Ads, it is called January 1st across all of them. So dates are better. What about if you want to blend your campaign names? To blend them correctly, the campaign names across all your channels should have the same naming convention and the same names, so I can match them. This is often not the case, but with dates, this is always the case. That's why my recommendation, your first data blending, do it with date. And don't you worry, in another lesson, I will show you how to do different blendings with other dimensions. Stay tuned because I will show you everything you need about data blending on Looker Studio. Now, let's continue. The second recommendation I want to give you is change the name of the metrics and the field so you can identify the data source. For Google Ads, the GA spend refers to the cost, but I want to make sure I can understand this is Google Ads. I will do the same with impressions. I won't call it impressions, I will call it Google Ads impressions. This is important because if I pull the metric impressions, I want to know they are Google Ads impressions and not LinkedIn Ads impressions. Once you rename your fields, now I will work with those Venn diagrams that you are seeing there. I will click here and my mind will collapse. This is too hard. It is super simple. Don't worry, it is a simple Venn diagram from the school. And in another lesson, I will explain you these join operators, the left outer, right outer. In another lesson, I will do it. This time, a recommendation 90% of the times, you will use left outer join. That's everything that you need to understand. That's it. So, for this exercise, I will do left outer join and I will combine the date from Google Ads with the date from LinkedIn Ads and click on save. I will do the same with Facebook. I will blend the date from Google Ads with the date of Facebook Ads and I will use again the same join operator, which is left outer. I will continue and I will click on save. And a recommendation as well is naming your blended data source because you will create many in your reports and you want to make sure you are using the correct one. So here I call it Google Ads plus Facebook Ads plus LinkedIn, and I will finish on close. I have my blended data source on Looker Studio. It is great, but it is not finished. As you can see, there are some null values. Null values are not the same as zero. Zero is a number, null is nothing. I cannot operate null. 5 plus null is not 5, is null. So I need to change this because otherwise I cannot combine a metric that is called total ad spend. Because if I have a null value, then Looker Studio will return a null. I need to fix this. Super simple, don't worry. The first thing I will do is with this table, I will bring the dimension date and Looker Studio will identify the dimension that is shared across these data sources. And I can also bring in the same table, as you can see, the Google ad spend, the LinkedIn ad spend, and the Facebook spend. This is wonderful because I can see the actual values separated by data source, and also I can create a combined metric with all of them. I will show you how to calculate these custom fields on Looker Studio. So I will go to my metrics and I will select the total ad spend I had created. This total ad spend is a simple formula. I will show you here that is summing, combining. I don't know how to say it in English, sorry. Google ad spend plus LinkedIn ad spend plus Facebook ad spend. This seems to be right. It is a simple formula. The issue is that if I have the formula like this, it will still show some null values because remember, null plus 5 is null. So I need to transform those null values into zeros so I can operate them mathematically correctly. I will go back and I will show you the new total ad spend that I am calculating, and you will see this function and you will love it. In this new function, I am doing the same formula. I am summing or adding my LinkedIn ad spend, but I am using a function that is called if null. If null is a function that says if null for this metric If it is null, then turn it to zero. And I am doing that with all of the metrics. If LinkedIn ad spend is null, turn it to zero. If Google Ads spend is null, turn it to zero. And with Facebook, if it is null, turn it to zero again. And that's how you can fix your blends when getting null values on your formulas. With this fixed and with this new field, now we can create charts like these ones, where over time I can see my total ad spend by channel. And this is the first class of data blending on Looker Studio. In other classes, I will show you how to fix other issues that you will find, how to use other join operators, and I think that you will be an expert on data blending on Looker Studio. So I will see you in the next classes. I am so excited to show you this. Here is how to fix missing formulas when blending data on Google Looker Studio. And this is another lesson of those that you don't know you need until you do, and that you are very desperate to be watching this video. In this exercise, I want to blend Google Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads data. Particularly, I want to know the total clicks, the total spend, and my global cost per click. And here I have a blended data source and a blended table with these metrics: the total ad spend from Google, from LinkedIn, and from Facebook, and the total spend of this, the total clicks from Google, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and the total clicks. And now I can calculate my cost per click. Here is what I will do. I will show you these metrics that I am bringing here. I needed to create a formula for each of them, and I will show you the formula. I will first show you the formula of cost per click, the initial one. So instead of adding Google Ads plus Facebook Ads plus LinkedIn directly without a function, I recommend you to use the sum function. This will help you aggregate your data correctly. If you're wondering what aggregation means, don't you worry, it will simply fix your formula. No questions, okay? So you will use the function summatory to combine this. And as you can see, the formula is Google Ads plus Facebook plus LinkedIn spent divided by the clicks of these three platforms. What is the issue I have with this? If you have been in the other lessons, if I have null values, then it will return null, then the data won't be accurate. So I will create an even more accurate formula. I will show it to you. If I click here, you will see that for every metric, I have the function if null. So if the Google Ads clicks are null, turn them to zero. And then use the function of summatory so I can add it up with the other metrics. I combine the total spend of this channel divided by the total clicks of these channels, and this is how you can calculate your CPC and mostly any metric on Google Looker Studio when blending data. Here is how to create a budget tracking or ad pacing report on Google Looker Studio. In this exercise, I will also show you how to fix a common error when blending data on Looker Studio: missing fields or missing values. For this example, I will combine Meta Ads and Google Ads and LinkedIn by dates. Here's what I have. For Meta, I have data until November 1st, for Google until November 30, and for LinkedIn until November 22. Now, if I combine all these data sources, I will have an issue that maybe you have seen in the past when blending data. If I don't have data, it is not a zero, it is null values. So Facebook has null, Google Ads has $19 of spend, and LinkedIn has null values too. If I want to know my total ad spend for November 30, in theory, it is $19. But actually, what Looker Studio will show is null, because 5 plus null is null. And this is not worth it. It is not accurate, and this will affect the accuracy of my reports. And this will affect all the dates across. So how to fix this? First, to the blended data source I have that combines Meta, Google, and LinkedIn, I will also blend a Google Sheet table like this one, and I will show you how it works. By the way, this Google Sheet template, you will find it in the description of this video. And it is a simple table where I have a single row for every day of a year. So this table brings by date my total budget. This has two purposes. First, I want to combine my actual budget, and second, I want to bring all the dates of a given year. This is important because besides budget, you can also bring your CRM contacts, or you can bring another number or another metric when you don't have a data source available. Blending data with Google Sheets means that you can bring data from any data source even though you don't have a connector available, which is magic. Now, I have this table with date and budget. I will blend it on Looker Studio, and I am not missing any date. As you can see, this table is bringing all the dates of 2024. Why this is important? I will show you. If I go to the data blending or to the blended data source, here is what I have. Again, I am blending by date, and also I am taking the date from the Google Sheet. Make sure that your dates are well formatted so Looker Studio can distinguish this is a date. What is next? From Google Sheet, I am blending by date and the metric will be budget. Now I can combine them, but I will show you the join types or join operators. The first join between Google Sheets and Meta, the primary key or the main union happens from Sheet. It is the first table I am declaring. This is important because this table from Google Sheets has all the dates. I don't care if Meta ads don't have all the dates because Google Sheets have them. Now I will go to cancel and I will do the same with Google Ads. The first date I will declare will be Google Sheets because it has all the dates. I won't care if Google Ads has ad spent in all these days. And finally, with LinkedIn, again, the first table is Google Sheets and LinkedIn Ads because this fixes this issue because I don't care now if LinkedIn is missing data because I can cover it with my Google Sheet that has all the data because I can control that. Now I will close this data blending and you can see how this table is created. I am combining the dates, the ad spend, and the budget from Google Sheet, Meta, and the sources. And now it is time to combine my total budget and my total ad spend. So here, what I have, I am pulling the metric budget in this column so I can compare my total ad spend with my total budget. I could create a formula so I can know the difference and if I am hitting my ideal budget. But how do I calculate my total ad spend? Here is what I do. As I shown in a different exercise, I cannot operate null values because null plus 5 is null. So I need to transform these null values into a 0. And the formula or the function for that is if null. If null says, if LinkedIn spend is null, turn it to 0. And I will do that for every net metric. So I will combine if null of LinkedIn, turn it to 0, plus if null of Meta, turn it to 0, plus if null of Google Ads, turn it to 0. And that's how you can combine your total ad spend across all your channels while you fix all your issues with missing data and also bringing data from other data sources like Google Sheets. Here is how to blend data on Looker Studio, and let's continue with other lessons. I hope you like this lesson. This is the kind of lessons you don't know you need until you are desperate. So if you are watching the video until the end, it's because you were desperate, and I hope this will be super helpful for you and you can sleep tonight. We will create a cross-channel report on Google Looker Studio with Shopify data, Google Ads and Meta Ads, and any ad spend data. This report will help us calculate metrics like CAC, customer acquisition cost, MER, marketing efficiency rate, CPA, cost per acquisition, and ROAS, return on ad spend, or any metric or financial metric that lets us understand the return of investment of our marketing efforts in e-commerce. The data that I will pull for this exercise from Shopify is orders, total sales and customers, from Meta, the ad spend, and from Google, also the ad spend. I need to know that this data is nuanced. Maybe I need to filter it. I need to do many things to calculate it. So this is a great time to tell you that at Porter we have a single connector that blends all this data and automatically get these metrics calculated so you don't need to follow this tutorial. If you don't want to pay for that, keep watching this tutorial. Sorry. Now, also consider that when you bring your Shopify data, you might want to filter your data. So consider your customer tags. If you want to pull only the orders from B2B customers, this is an option. Also consider the source of these orders. If I want to know the CAC of Facebook, I only need to consider the orders coming from Facebook, not the global orders from my store. Otherwise, the CAC is not calculated correctly. And also the customer type. The customer type is if the customer is new or repeat customer. If I want to know my CAC or customer acquisition cost, I need new customers. If I want to know my CPA or cost per acquisition, I need my orders regardless if they come from new or repeat customers. Now I will combine these three data sources. I will select them all. I will do a right click and I will blend the data. This will create a new table with the blended data sources. As you can see, we have our fields from the separate data sources, and in red, I have my custom formulas. If you see them in red, technically these metrics are wrong, but they are not wrong because the data is working correctly. So don't worry about these red signs. It seems to be a visual bug from Looker Studio that they haven't fixed, and also it says that we are pushing the boundaries of Looker Studio with all this exercise. Now I will show you the data source that we are creating. So I will go to edit data source, and we will see that this is a straightforward data lending on Looker Studio, where I combine by date Shopify, Google, and Facebook. And the unions or the combinations are the recommended ones. Simply left outer joins where I match the Shopify date with the Google Ads date. Also, the Shopify date with the Meta Ads date, and I named this data source Shopify plus Google plus Facebook. That's everything. Now I will show you in detail how every metric works. You might be wondering why we don't get these metrics directly from Facebook ads, because Facebook ads also reports conversions and ROAS and revenue. The issue is that Meta ads or Facebook ads data never matches Shopify. It is never as accurate. So we want to take the best of both worlds, the revenue and orders from Shopify with the ad spend from Meta and Google. I will start with the CPA or cost per acquisition. The formula in theory is super simple. My total ad spend divided my total orders. Total ad spend from Google and Meta and total orders from Shopify. Now, the difference is that I need several functions to make it work. So I will add total ad spend for Google, total ad spend for Meta, but all of these metrics, I need to use the function sum to aggregate them correctly. And inside the function sum, I need to add another function, if null. This if null function will transform the null values into zeros. If you don't understand what I am saying, I recommend you to go to our other lessons on data lending and null values and understand why this is an issue. But this is what we will do. In the same formula, we are using two functions per metric, the summatory and also the if null. Everything else is the same. It's simply adding ad spend by orders, and that's how we can calculate the cost per acquisition with Shopify data. It is mostly the same with the other metrics. If I want to know my CAC, for instance, CAC is my total ad spend divided by my new customers. But how do I get my new customers? I will go back and I will show you how we can know what of these customers or these orders come from new customers and not repeat customers. So I will go back to the data source, and here below in the data lending, I can add a filter to my Shopify table that only shows new customer data. So I will click on create a filter, and I will include only the customer type that is new customers. And with this, now all my Shopify data will be showing only data from new customers, not from repeat customers. I also can include only my data coming from particularly certain campaigns. So I am also filtering the UTM source Facebook, so I get only my sales coming only from Facebook ads. Now here I click on save, and as you can see, this is very nuanced. I didn't publish these filters. I only wanted to show you how they work. I will click on close, and finally I will show you the ACOS. ACOS is advertising cost. The advertising cost is the opposite of the return ad spend. So return ad spend is revenue divided by ad spend. ACOS is ad spend divided by revenue. The way to understand return ad spend is for every dollar on ad spend, I get this amount of revenue. ACOS, the way to read it is what is the percentage of my revenue that I need to distribute to advertising. I will explain this. An ACOS of 20% means that for every $100 I make in sales, I need to spend $20 on advertising. In ROAS, a ROAS of 2 or 200% means that for every dollar I spend on ads, I make $2 on sales. They are the same thing, but you can say both. Don't worry about the metrics in marketing, they mean the same, and you can reflect those metrics I showed you here in Looker Studio. As you can see, I am using the same metrics I am explaining, but with the functions sum and the function if null. And this is how you can create a cross-channel report with Shopify data, with Meta Ads data, with Google Ads, and calculate these financial metrics to know the return ad spend and return investment on your Shopify and e-commerce stores. I will see you in other lessons of data lending, and I hope you like these tutorials. If you're watching these tutorials until the end, I really appreciate it, because I know this is boring, I know this is tedious, this is hard, but I hope this will help you a lot to save a lot of time. So see you, and final reminder, if you don't want to learn any of these things, simply use our blended data connector that automatically combines and matches and calculates all these metrics for you. Power Metrics helps you automatically understand the return investment on your marketing reports, but these tutorials are meant to help you understand all the thought process that we needed to go through to automatically do that, so you don't need to do any of these things. See you in the next video. Here is how to do goal tracking or budget tracking by using data blending on Google Looker Studio. And the data that we will use will be ad spend and conversions from Google Ads or any marketing data source, my goals or my budget from a Google Sheet, and then blending this data together so I can compare the actual versus the target performance. To create a chart like this where I compare my actual conversions with my goals, I will simply show you how I created this data blending. I will select this blended data source, and I am simply matching or tying by date my Google Ads performance data and my Google Sheets data. And I will show you the Google Sheet. The Google Sheet is a simple table where by date I am including all the dates of the year. By date, I can track my budget and I can set my goals. If I combine this like this, I will be able to pull this chart. Now, if you want to know more about data blending, remember we have other lessons and tutorials only for data blending on Looker Studio. I will see you in the next lesson. How to do currency conversion on Google Looker Studio with data blending. Let's say I have a Google Ads account in US dollars and I want to report in the most stable currency in the world, the Argentinian peso, of course. So I will connect Google Ads and I will bring the cost metric. In this case, I change the name to ad spend in USD so it is easy to differentiate. Now, I will also connect a table with Google Sheets data where every row has a date and the conversion for that particular date. So for November 30, $1 is equivalent to 1,000 Argentinian pesos. With these two tables, I will blend them together. If you want to know how to blend data on Google Looker Studio, we have other tutorials around this. But once I blend this data, the only thing I need to do with this table is the formula I created. To calculate the currency conversion, I only need to multiply the conversion value from the Google Sheet with the ad spend or the cost of Google Ads. This is everything, and that's how I can get my total ad spend like this time series reported in both US dollars and Argentinian pesos or any currency conversion. How to do this? I will show you how this data blending works. So I will go to this table that I connected, this data source, and this data source is simply combining or blending by date my Google Ads account with this Google Sheet. So I will go to a Google Sheet because Google Ads is simply bringing the cost and the conversions. I only need the cost for this exercise. And the metric I am bringing from the Google Sheet is the conversion value from Argentinian peso to dollar. What is the Google Sheet? I will go to it. This Google Sheet is simply showing by date what is the equivalent value of $1 to Argentinian pesos, and how do I get this data? Simply go to Bloomberg or Google or use ChatGPT and please return the conversions of the Argentinian pesos to dollars, and you will be able to download a CSV file. Maybe you can update it, it is only once, and you can do a currency conversion without paying for a different or expensive tool or doing a more complex setup. Only with this data blending, you can do currency conversion on Google Looker Studio. This is the last example on data blending and regular expressions on Google Looker Studio. With this use case, you will be able to do the most important use case of marketing, calculating your return on investment, and you will see the challenges to do it. Let's say I want to know my profit. To know my profit, I need to understand my total revenue and my total cost. The challenge, of course, is that I need to blend multiple data sources where this revenue and this cost are reported, and also I need to segment this data across all these data sources. For that, we use regular expressions. For blending, we use the data blending on Looker Studio that you have already seen. Now, I will start explaining how you will do the exercise. First, as we have always done, we will take the initial data source, let's say Meta Ads, and I will segment my data with tagging. Remember that we tag the brands depending that if these brands are present in our naming conventions in our campaign name. So, as we have done before, we create a conditional for Facebook ads data that says if the campaign name contains Volkswagen, then tag accordingly. If it contains Uber, tag Uber, and so on. With that, we create this column or this dimension called brand. It is a custom dimension that I can use across any data source. The second table I will create besides this one with Meta Ads data will be these Google Sheets. I will create a Google Sheet that I use that breaks down by date and also by brand, so the dates can be repeated. I will show you how the Google Sheet looks like, and I will give you a template in the comments of this video. So let me show what I have here. For this Google Sheet, I have a column with date, a column with brand, and I have metrics like cost of goods sold. Or for instance, if we don't have a connector like Amazon Ads, you can import it as well on Google Sheets. If, for instance, Power Metrics doesn't have a particular connector that you need, maybe you can import and blend the data through Google Sheets as I am doing in this exercise. I will explain this blending I just created. So let me explain. I am breaking down by brand my total ad spend, my total cost of goods sold, my Amazon ad, and my total aggregated cost, because all of these items are cost. Ad spend, cost of goods sold, and also Amazon ads, they are all expenses. And finally, I calculated the total cost. How the join works, as it has always worked. I will go to edit, and you will see that I am blending by brand the ad spend on Facebook and the other metrics from Google Sheets. Now let me explain you the Google Sheet. Here I need to add a date range because by default when I connect Google Sheets, Looker Studio doesn't understand what is the date range. I need to identify it. Now I will go to a Google Sheet. Let me go there, and this is how you will structure this table. You need to add a column with the date to match the date, and also a column with the brand or with the product. As you can see, I might need to repeat the dates. For instance, I have sales for Valiant on January 1st, and also I have sales for AIG for January 1st. So make sure that maybe you need to repeat dates. But this is the way to segment your cross-channel data, by creating these tags on your Google Sheet. If you already understand left join, you already understand right join as well. In this table, I am doing a right outer join operator, and I will explain it. I will show how it works. I will go again to a data source, and you will see that this time I remove the date. I will only match the brands. This time, the operator will be instead right outer. I will click on cancel, and I will click on close. What is the difference here? I will only show data as soon as it is in the right table or second table. In this case, it is Google Ads. So all the brands I am displaying here must be on Google Ads. AIG is in Google Ads, Uber, Valiant, OpenAI, and Deutsche Bank. I am not presenting, or I am not showing Volkswagen, because this value is only present in Facebook, so I cannot display it. And these two values, for instance, Deutsche Bank and OpenAI, are only present in Google Ads in my right table. That's why I am showing it in the table, but they display as null for Meta Ads. So as you can understand, the right outer join will declare the values as soon as they are in my right table or second table I declare in my join on Google Looker Studio. If this is clear with left join and right join, now I will explain you inner join. I will see you in the next lesson. Let's understand inner joins. You already know that left outer joins will only show data as soon as they are in the left table or the first table, in this case, Facebook ads. Right outer join is the opposite. It will only show data as soon as it is in the second table. Well, inner joins are more restrictive. You have to have the data in both left and right to show them. As you can see, in this table, I am showing the brands AIG, Uber, and Valiant because these brands are present in both Meta and Google. It's not one or the other, but one and the other. And how it works? As the other joins. I will go to edit this blended data source. I will go to edit, and you will see that I am blending my brand. I will choose the condition, and I am blending the brand and using the inner join operator. I will click on cancel, close, and you can see this table where I am combining this with an inner join. In the next lesson, I will show you the full outer join operator. See you in the next lesson. Let's understand the full outer join. Remember the inner join. The inner join is the most restrictive rule because my data should be present on Facebook and on Google. Well, the full outer join is the opposite. The data should be present on Facebook or on Google in order to be displayed in my new table. Let me explain it with this example. AIG is present in Meta and Google, and I can see it there. Null value, I will solve it later, no worries. Uber is present as well in Facebook and Google, and I can see them there, 30,000 and 5,000. Valiant as well, but the magic is here. Deutsche Bank is not present on Facebook, it is present on Google. Besides that, or even though I have this issue, it will still display this data. It will display a null anyways, but it will display the data. Also, it will display OpenAI even though it is not present on Meta. And what about that null value? That null value refers to Volkswagen. And for some reason, Looker Studio didn't display Volkswagen, it displayed null. But as you can see, the full outer join is the least restrictive rule. And because of this, I will recommend you to use this one the most often, even though the left outer is the default option. Now, let's understand the cross join on Google Looker Studio. It is my time to be open and candid with you with the cross join. I can explain you how it works, but not why it works. Let me show you. In this table, I can see that this is self-explanatory. With the cross join, for every brand, this is aggregating the total of the ad spend of the entire table. So the total ad spend on Meta ads is this number, 118K. But it is repeating this total across all these brands. So it is adding up almost 600K. It doesn't make sense. And it does the same behavior with Google. I understand how it works, but I don't know why would you ever use this. This is the cross join on Google Looker Studio. I will see you in the next tutorials. If there is someone watching this tutorial who understands why you will do that, let me know in the comments because I want to learn.